All right, we're live. And I forgot to post the previous VOD, but at least I posted the discussion with the Embers Adrift guys. So I got that out so far this week. I'll get the, I'll get what, last Friday? Whenever it was. I get that VOD posted. Well, I don't know. You tell me. If you're watching this VOD, you've seen the other VOD probably. How about that? What are we going to do tonight? Don't want to stay on super long again today. Keep it kind of chill. But also do a little bit of something. And also, yeah, so I need to fix some housing stuff, but maybe I won't do that. I'm not going to do that tonight. I'll do that tomorrow morning. For two reasons. One, I got to get all that set up, and then it's just like, got to get it organized, and it's like 3 different tables, plus working in the scene to fix the housing bugs. So let's not do that. Let's go over to, and then somebody in the video comments will be like, is there any zone in this game that's not this one zone? Because every VOD you're in the same zone. Fair. So, ooh, is the music too loud? Hallo Martin, wie geht's? So yeah, let's not do that. We'll leave this zone and we'll go to a zone that you've only seen a little sneak peek of. Let me check that zone out actually, so I can mess with some props. Let me do that. Anyways, let me say hi to people. Chudster, what's going on? Pack Attack, hello. What's up, Swanee? Yeah, that reminds me. Once we get rolling, I'll ask you guys about a concept. We'll ask you a concept question in a little bit. It's something Swanee's already worked on. It already works, but it's so figure I bounce it off you. Let's see. Who else is in here? Nimdork, Soldier, Queech. Ryan's Devil, what's going on? On your commute? Well, be safe on your commute. Are you driving? Are you like on a, are you in a train or something? RNG, Captain Hook, what's going on? Hey, happy to see you as well. What's up, Thadvik? Surprise stream? You mean that I'm actually... It's a surprise I'm actually streaming when I'm supposed to? Hey, Synexa. Are you in the game yet? No, Death Rider, you're not in the game. Martin hat gesagt, es geht sehr gut. Schön. Burial, hello. What's up, Coot? Captain Caldwell, thank you for the follow. Synlytic, Chaz Solo, Chucklar, MMO Pug, what's going on? Hey, Grandoc. Lex. Jorius. Magnus. Faith Fellowship Fun, what's going on? Strock. Hey, Chinny. Weirdo. Who else is rolling in here? OC Caden. Either that or it's Occaden. Either way, good to see you. Schmurda. Schmurda was the case that they gave me. Schmurda said, I'm literally about to build a whole new PC specifically to make sure I'm good to play and stream this for the foreseeable future. Right on. Sorry about the prices, man. Prices have gone up. What's up, Lasava, Candyman, Bulldog? Es freut dich zu hören. Murpus, Marcy, my dear friend Justin Beard, Magnus, Reviver, Sheer, Caution I'm Stoned. Caldwell said, I thought I was already following. I played one of the original stress tests, came back, check on development in Discord. Oh man, you just missed some good stress tests at the end of the year. They've come a ways since when you last played, probably. What's up, Kufu? Killer Lead 2000, hello. All right. Cool. All right, so let's leave this zone. I was going to come in here. I was checking some other stuff earlier. I was going to come in here and work on housing, but I didn't get stuff set up in time, and now it's like, now I don't want to have to try to organize my thoughts and stuff. So let me see. I don't think I'm spoiling too much by going to this other zone that you've only seen once. Then if you guys remind me before we get too far along, before I end the stream later. I'm not going to stay on super late, but before it's all over with, I'll talk to you a little bit about a initiative that pitched to the team, I don't know, a couple months ago. Swanee has whipped together the tooling and stuff for it, which is cool. And so we'll be bouncing that off you guys and see what you do with it. All right, so zone, let's go. Hey, checks. Housing needs some love, but it's looking good so far. Yeah, it needs some love. And honestly, I've just been, it's one of those things that I'm going to enjoy just kind of like poking away at least the bugs and stuff. A lot of the love that's needed is going to be like, there's going to be some code work, which I need to sit down with the documentation. I'll do it this week and kind of go through and really break out sort of the priorities, at least from my point of view, for going into beta, and then continue to ask some of the wonderful people in alpha, etc., to, you know, for their opinions on some of the stuff and priorities and features and all that. Essential X34 said, Robot, hey buddy, hope you're doing well today. You ever work any shows in Chico back in the day? I know you mentioned the Bay Area, but I thought you might have worked in Chico shows as well. No, and I'll be honest, the only time I was near the Bay Area was, I've only passed through a couple times with friends on road trips and some work visits to like San Francisco. The only shows I ever worked were in DC at that one nightclub. Captain Caldwell, if you have not been around for a while, there's some great videos out now that people have put together of recent playtests that I think show off the game pretty well. This is looking a little like we're still in like very much in progress land in here. So not trying to spoil things too much for you, but since this is a zone that I've been working with Bjorn to put together, I don't mind spoiling it a little bit. You know, a little like they're currently the Underdocs is in really good shape. Chinny's been doing that zone. We've had some little sneak peeks in the updates. But the Underdocs is dope. We've got Caves of Aram that are very much in progress, but they're there as well. And there's some cool stuff in there. Chinny and Baloo are working on Aelvareth, the deep elf city. We've got Fields of the Lost in progress, and that is one that Cod's been working on. We've got Rothold, which was also a zone that Cod's done. That's like really decent, decently done. Like it's very far along. Badass dungeon as well. Fallen Watch is in progress, also looking good. We've got a couple of zones that we just don't tell you about that I'll just leave it at that are far along as well. Like they're kind of our initial expedition prototype zones, but the zones themselves aren't prototypes. They're put together. They're good. But like the, sort of working through some of the paper ideas and see if they make sense with expeditions is something that's gotta happen still. So there's a bunch of stuff that I'd love to just be able to like show you and have you like ooh and ah about, but they're ones that I think, it's nice to save some stuff. And even here, I'm gonna maybe not show you everything. Well, yeah, you'll see a lot in here, but still, it's fine because this zone is something that you're gonna be in soon enough. Anyways, this is one that we're trying to get going. We're gonna be doing some pop work while I'm in here. This is a zone that we're like adding in. We wanted another dungeon for early access, and so we're trying to get that whipped up, and yeah, so little extra dungeon action. Essential X, yeah, we probably didn't cross paths. It shows on the left coast, but it would have been cool. Chinny, it's funny, like this current lighting is, I think it's because, yeah. So if I just go with the dungeon environment, it does this. Gets pretty dark. And then if I go with the deep environment setting, it blasts it out. Wait. I think it's just kind of losing its mind. Because it makes no sense that it would do this. But it's doing this for now. We'll go with it. Whatever. We'll figure it out later. We'll fix it in post. So, yeah. Again, I'm super excited about this dungeon. This is a dungeon that I wanted to do. It was kind of on the list and then it got cut. It was like, we had to cut scope. When we were doing the initial kind of like giant crazy map of craziness, like the zone connection map, it's huge. And then at some point it was like, well, we're not going to be able to make all this. So we trim scope. The cool thing is we've still got that zone connection map. So there's these ideas floating around and we even kind of know where they would fit in. And there's a lot of, like, I'm not going to bullshit you. There's a lot of that map that is just like, whatever. Frozen-y Ogre Zone 2, that kind of stuff. Maybe throwing some different, like, found images on the internet or whatever to see how it feels different than Frozen-y Ogre Zone 1 or whatever. But they're definitely, they're ideas, and there's a lot of shit that just needs to get written down, you know what I mean? Anyway, so we're here. Everything in here, anything you see, is placeholder. It's put in strictly, like, consider this like a gray box zone. Like, I stole some of Chinny's elevators, just to kind of get a sense of scale. You know, just toss some lights around, started tossing lights in so that I could kind of see vibe-wise what's going on and kind of how, you know, things look when you're moving through it and how much lighting we want to do, that type of stuff. But I mean, there's definitely, it's blocked out. It's not small, you know how we do it. And yeah, so that's kind of where we're at here. I don't know, have I done much population work in like a dungeon environment or anything in the past? It's usually like outdoors and stuff. Though some of our outdoors are like dungeons. Somebody, I think it was Kungan, that was mentioning like Fallen Passes dungeon. I was like, it kind of is in spots. What's up, Tellen? Candyman, it is not in Great... We are not currently in Great Cavern Sea. The name of this zone has never been mentioned before. It just kind of got tossed back on the roster. And Captain Caldwell said the original playtest stress test is when he played. I think we had like one zone and one boss dungeon. Me and my buddies really enjoyed playing. If you enjoyed it back then you're really... I believe that if you enjoyed it back then, you'll really enjoy it now. So, and I'm not just saying that. Lyra said, fail and draw side orc dungeon per chance. That's very specific. Why are you so specific? Where did you get your information? Did I already blab? Oops. Ogre Zone 69 hype. Nice. What's up, Goblin? Burial says, as a solo Unity developer, it's so interesting seeing the engine environment on a project to this scale. Yeah, and honestly, aside from it, like Unity, the engine, when I'm in the editor, like Unity, the editor, really making my machine make some noises sometimes. I've been impressed with the stability relative to my past experience with Unreal. And just generally speaking, no complaints. And Unity did not pay me to say that. So let's hop in here. We'll do this. But you guys didn't answer my question. I haven't worked in a dungeon before with on stream, have I? We've made a zone together. But that was an outdoor zone. So Lex 5280 said Chinny has been doing some nice work on the Deep Elf City recently. He has some cool water fountains he was working on last week. Okay, cool. Yeah. I never really know how much of the other stuff has been shown, but I don't want to spoil other people's like stuff that they've been working hard on, and it's kind of theirs to spoil, but soon I will spoil. What's up, Fizwick? Hey, Goblin. Did I already say hey, Goblin? Telekir, that's what it was. Telekir, a long time ago. Okay, I don't feel as bad then. And it's not like you guys are going to get in here and not get lost. Oh, wild. I talked about how... Okay, I was about to say, I talked about how stable Unity was, and I was like, why isn't it working? Vagtastic, thank you for the follow. Interesting name. Hey, Esan, what's going on, brother? Hey, Shooter. G. Willikers. Connive. Will Eminem have Zim values for certain zones, or will all zones be the same for XP gain? We've got Zim is part of the table. Zone experience modifier. We do have zone experience modifiers. Goblin said new Deep Elf City textures too. Oh yeah. I think I saw some of those in Slack. Or were those the new ones, or are you still iterating beyond that? Hey, Vegas. Don't worry about me getting... You don't have to worry about me getting lost. Don't worry. You could draw real-time arrows on the screen. I'd still manage to get lost for hours. That's me in zones that I've worked on. In zones that I've literally mapped out. I still get lost. Don't save. Let's hop in here real quick. Do I have latest? I do not have latest. Let's try that. Grabbing latest. Oh, guys, guess what? I bought a monitor stand for my same monitor. That last part of sentence doesn't really matter, guys. I've had the same monitor for years. And it's had like the stand that it came with. And so I bought a new stand to elevate it, and it's like this much higher than it used to be. And my posture's already getting better. Vegas said, I reached out to Rich Waters and told him about how I told you about the fun I had with your Chardock revamp. He remembered the weekend you two worked on it fondly. And then he reached out to me right after you reached out to him, letting me know that you reached out to him. And we had a laugh. Like it in like a nice way. It was we were like, holy shit, man, isn't it cool that people still remember that stuff? A reach out inception. I think a reach out inception is called a circle. Oh, nope. We are not going to say that. But it is a military term. Facebook said, Sean, what does Eminem officially call them? Avatars, characters, tunes, something else? We use different terms. Officially, I don't... Characters? I guess there's different official terms depending on context. Goblin said Chinny is in the process of updating those. The textures, cool. Some Magic Dust said, wow, is this a reboot? Is this stream a reboot of a previous stream? Probably. Circle of Friendship, that is not the military term. What's about to pop up on my screen? Is it bad? Smartest said, Army vet here, definitely heard it once or twice. Yes, and Swanee right above you was in the Air Force, so there's mastery. Ninja Loot TV, hello. Well, I guess you've seen the name now. Well, don't look at that. You didn't need to see that. That was too much. That was... Why was I standing right there? Oh. What did you just see? Ooh. Spoilers. It don't matter, man. Burial said, characters was my vote, so let's go with that. I like being right. Nothing wrong being right. Wongus, hello. Thank you for the follow. Glum said, my back got really bad from drawing and bad posture for years. Oh, I could imagine. The show? Is the show a reboot? Which show? Did I mention a show? I don't remember anything I say like 10 seconds after I say it, so you have to contextualize it. Vulork said, I opted in for close testing. Is there a wait list? And if there is, do you know how long it is? Vulork, as one of the most super OGs in chat right now, why don't you just send me a DM, buddy? Oh, this is what happens. This is what happens when we use this lighting model in here. The torch gets a little rowdy. The torch is a little much when we're doing this lighting. I need to... see if I can rein that in a little bit. That's a little bit better. Shoot me a DM on Discord, Vulork. I'm not kidding. Vulork's been here for at least 5 years. Classic Cool said, Yo, Sean, congrats on a major shout out from Force Gaming. It was very cool. The team was excited to see it. He's mentioned this a couple times now, and it's very kind of him. Now we just gotta... yeah, Swanee, if you want to do that, that would be cool. I would appreciate that. Vulork, look for Swanee85's DM. Candyman said, personally, I despise tunes, just pet peeve. It just became a habit. Vegas said, speaking of the fun I had with the Chardock revamp, gaining monster faction and freely exploring the dungeon is one of the most fun things I liked about EQ. Will there be a good amount of content in the game around monster factions, quests, etc.? One of the reasons, I mean, it's not the only reason, but like one of the reasons why we're in this dungeon right now, is because one of the other dungeons that we have for this level range allows you, the other dungeon, it was an experiment that we called like the Monster City experiment, which it was very intentional that you could faction up with that that race of monsters. And so so then people are like, but I wanted to faction up with these guys, and so that kind of eats into available dungeon space. So so here we are. Plus, there's like a interesting workflow that we played around with, like, with this one, and so some different things going on. It's got quite a ways to go, but we've gotten started. So right now, a lot of it is just like kit bashing and pulling assets, you know, from other places to kind of just block some stuff out to see, is it going to work? What's up, OlgoDev? And, you know, I don't know. Like, it's one of those things where I could, like, try to play it low-key or whatever. And not describe what's going on with the dungeon. But like I said, we've got dungeons that we're going to do that for sure. Where it's just going to be completely discoveries on you. So I don't mind speaking about kind of this one as we work on it. Yeah, don't mind the, like, super blown out torchlight. It's we've got like environment files that define characteristics of the zones, like lighting and the way that it handles time and other stuff. And within that, this isn't my area of expertise, but within that, there's some values that need to be tweaked in the deep one. I don't think anybody's super happy with the values for the deep one, so folks are using other ones instead. And I'm kind of like, I'm actually pretty okay with different zones having slightly different vibe in terms of like lighting and fog and all of that stuff, but we got to keep some things like the torch brightness and shit consistent. So I think we need to come in here and normalize it. Every time I ask the artist like why this one's so different from the other ones, the basic response is we're not using that one. I think Chinny might have explained it, and it was like, well, the mushrooms in the deep need it to be changed or something in order for them to glow better. But I'm kind of like, I don't know, do we need to change the mushrooms? I don't know. Anyways. Cool. So what I may do then is I'll hop out of here in a second. You've kind of seen, oops, why did I grab that? Kind of seen what it looks like, especially with my super crazy torch. But my options are like, basically, it's ultra dark or it's ultra dark or it's blown out. So a lot of what we're shooting for in this dungeon is a lot of verticality. I mean, we do that in a few of our dungeons, but like really give it like a nice deep cavernous feel and a lot of like up and down areas to explore. It'll be a nice mix of architecture and caves. Let me see what Swannies. Hey, Pixie Moon Magic. Said, Sean, I hope you're having a good week. Started reading Dungeon Crawler Carl with my wife. You weren't kidding. It's super good. I love Donut. it just gets better and better. It really, I'm not just saying that. Watch out, because if you haven't made it to like some of the later books, there are definitely there's some like tear jerk, like emotional moments. Kind of, it surprised us. We're like, oh shit, that's intense. But yeah, so a lot of cool passages, and we're working. We're gonna be working on like a lot of little tunnels and ladders and ropes and stuff to get you from. There's like a kind of an upper layer and a lower layer. Did I just go in a circle? I hope not. And all of that. Yeah, there are going to be some tight squeezes as an ogre. I guess I should be a human so that you can kind of get a better understanding of it. But as you can see, it's empty at the moment. We've been blocking things out and, you know, exploring some different elements within it. So lots of work left to do. And really been impressed with what Cad's pulled off in Rothold. And so we'll ping him a little bit as well for like some ideas on some polished stuff as we get in here. Yeah, there's really some like different, I think we're just here. Yeah. I'm always lost in yeah, there's definitely like a wide range of hall widths, and we're going to play around with ceiling heights and stuff in some of the areas, like go through and make adjustments there. Yeah, I did go backwards. And there'll be a lot of there's a lot of waterfalls in here. Like I said, there's different layers, so you can kind of be, I would say this is like the upper layer, and then there's a set of under layers. And can we talk about what kind of enemies will be in here? Yeah, why not? Because again, this is a dungeon that you guys are going to be in the not too horribly distant future in some form or another. Oh, I forget that a lot of the screen's cut off on this. Due to the chat box. The chat box, which isn't working. Hold on one second. Why isn't the chat box working? I just looked over. You guys didn't even say anything. And I suck at this stuff, so... Can't knock a dungeon that includes boats Goonies style. Well, there you go. You caught the reference. Dawson. Is it Artorius? The wolf? Thank you for the follows. Let me see if I can figure out... I'm trying to... What I'm trying to do is figure out the... figure out why the freaking... my chat box isn't working. The little side chat. Those of you guys that watch the VODs, apologies if it's been this way for a stream or two. Sorry. I'm still looking at it, trying to figure out. That is so weird, man. I love that shit just randomly breaks. And then I'm sitting here in the middle of the stream, like trying to figure out how to make it not be broken. Well, I guess I can just turn off chat for now. The box, you can see more. Guess that's one plus. Lame. Hey, Magic Hot. It's so weird, dude. It's just, it's like... Stuff just resets every time I stream. Whatever. Has there ever been any discussion between players or devs about including a paint system, way to landmark the world with simple painted phrases? Nope, I don't think, honestly, I don't think we've ever discussed it. I'll have to watch what I show now. I've been using that nice big sort of bar on the side of the screen to mask stuff. Has Master Scribe Othello been moved or removed? Been looking everywhere for him. Somebody was asking that in like Slack earlier, and I don't know the answer. Annoying Llama is rated with 7 other llamas. Welcome, llamas. Anytime I think of like llamas, or anytime we see donkeys or sheep or something on Instagram, my wife and I were like, I bet they smell wonderful. Smell like hay. Will we have a PvP beta server? Nope. Nope. But during open playtest, we'll continue to support PvP. Just finished some EQ. Now time for Monsters and Memories. Hey. Well. Good to have you. Llamas smell like poop and grass. Is it bad poop or like llama poop? Like cow poop? Bro, for show, thank you for the follow. One of the guys that we used to skateboard with in Alabama when I was a kid, he had a lowrider Nissan with the custom plate, low faux show, because he was going to take it to car shows, lowrider car shows. His name was Ken, and if you're out there, Ken, thank you for all of the rides that you used to give us. He used to drive us everywhere. It was super handy. Did someone say roll tide? They did not, but you guys can definitely roll tide it up. Roll tide. Ryan's Devil said, hey Sean, something I've been thinking about lately is if you guys have a plan for after a game hits the shelves and is an undeniable hit, I would hate to see things happen the way they did to the Gower brothers with RuneScape and Jagex. That slowly Andrew had to stop doing what he loved, which was making games, instead run a company. In the end, he ended up leaving, etc. Oh, no, don't worry. We'll never run the company like a company. We have a plan for how we're not going to run the company like a company. We do have a plan. Just want to see you guys for the long term and be able to keep doing what you're doing. All love. Hey, thank you. That's a very nice message. Nah, we won't hire a CEO either. I honestly, it's we discuss that stuff. It's something that's on my mind a lot. I've been at studios and seen them scale, and typically scale in ways that aren't good. So we talk about it a fair bit. I mean, our primary areas of potential growth, if we were to be blessed enough to be big, would be things like things like CS, right? Adding, there is no desire and no plan to like add 20, 30, 50 more people to work on the game. It won't make us work faster. We're going to keep the team size tight. We will scale customer service as needed in order to provide you guys with top tier social experience. And we think that our customer service, our GMs, are core to creating an environment that feels good to be a part of. We will likely, like I said, if we're blessed enough to like do well, then what we'll do is we'll take care of our team. We'll get more of our team on board full time. We'll be able to then leverage that additional capacity in good ways. If we need to scale something like art creation, etc., we'll be working with a trusted like outsource partner, somebody that knows our style, can hit our style. We'll integrate that stuff. It will continue to be our game. And we'll go as fast as we reasonably can without compromising our culture or like who we are. And we'll make that very clear. Like if there is some crazy scenario, right? We plan for like what happens if there's 500 subs and what happens if there's, 50,000 or 100,000 subs. We plan for the full range because whatever, you might as well plan. And for us, the difference in those things isn't massive. And so if we do happen to be in a situation where we've got extra cash on hand, we're going to be showing you guys our numbers, right? So you'll see, hey, okay, you guys have this many subs, which means you have this much revenue, which means you have this much profit. We'll just be honest with you guys and be like, hey, just because we've got a bunch more revenue than we expected, sorry, the game's not going to get done 10 times faster. The game will get done in the manner that we'll describe it, right? Like, hey, this is how we're going to work through it. Because what'll wind up happening is it's like if we were to go, oh shit, we got a bunch of cash. First of all, you never know if that's going to be around in 3 months or 6 months or a year. And then second of all, it's like the most dangerous period, in my opinion, for a studio is when you go from like being small to medium. Medium's like the sketchiest size for a studio. And once you start scaling, then you've got to have like leads that are supervising multiple people. You start to create like middle management, like this management layer. And I can say this because I've been in middle management for a fair part of my career. It's not necessarily the best thing. So it's not what we're shooting for. We'd rather stay small and nimble and pretty flat in our structure. And just do shit as we can and be honest with you. Right. So then, people will be like, oh, well, you've got these resources. Why aren't you moving faster? And we'll just explain to you why we're not. And if that's not cool for folks, then I don't know what to say, man. So this is, we're in this dungeon here. We're like, this is an example of like that lower layer. So it needs a lot of work. It's not refined yet. So with that in mind, I'm not spoiling too much. What are you guys saying? Well, when the times comes, I'm ready with my resume. Been doing CSQA for over a decade in all roles, from tier 1 all the way up to director in the security industry. Yeah, I mean, keep an eye out when we need folks. We'll definitely be posting it, and we're you know, we had like a GM position posted for like a week or 2 weeks or something. We got 30 applications, and there were a lot of really good candidates in there, and so wound up on phone calls with at least 10 of those folks, and so we've got some people lined up, and then we'll line up more as needed. Zach said, we say that we're playing for the longevity of the game instead of sprinting to get it done and reduce the quality that we're aiming for. Yep. And that's the, and that's the thing is like, if we've got the resources, in terms of financial resources and stuff, and get some folks better security, then, we'll move a little bit faster, but we'll also, look at ways to maybe hit some of the stuff that we really wanted to be able to hit, but we're so stretched thin at the moment. And we'll kind of see how that goes. Yeah, so we've got to get in here, and what happens if I use this instead? I didn't think I had to have this equipped. Oh my god, that's worse. Hey, Idri. Will there be treasure chests to find in the overworld? It's funny, we were just talking about which interaction model to use for something like that. The short answer is I wouldn't be shocked for you to find, if you were to find chests and things like that eventually, but it's one of those things that we want to really make sure that we're synced up. Here, I'm going to bring that bar back up so you can't see stuff for a second. We want to make sure that we're consistent in using the right interaction model for it. There we go. You would love treasure that you have to dig up. We've been talking about treasure maps and stuff like that forever. I think Nick has mentioned treasure map every couple of months for years at this point. Hey, Squats. Let me check out the zone really fast. Checking out Black Tide Bay. There you go. Hey, Tavish. Wall Pokin, thank you for the follow. Yeah, the Sava. If people are paying attention. And again, apologies those of you that are watching the VOD that the chat doesn't work. I'll try to stay on top of reading it out. Do we still have the old chat? But it doesn't really... Did it just break too? Interesting. What's going on with chat? Is it a Streamlabs thing? That better not have been it. Okay, it wasn't it. Lame, dude. Oh well. I'll fix it next time, probably. If somebody, hopefully somebody on the team will remind me to fix my chat before Friday. That would be cool. You need to send Robert a message thanking him for the delightful music. I think it's always appreciated. Hortense. Oops. Why is it doing that? Why is it grabbing that? 0, 0. Cool. Lucky said clearly those chats are Goblin tech if a gnome had made it. It's true. If a gnome had made the chat functionality for this stream, it would be top notch. It would be working perfectly. We would not be dealing with all of these issues. I blame sewer gnome technology. Sometimes, yeah, somebody might ask, and I think somebody has asked me before, why would there be tents in a cave? I think First asked that question. Why would there be tents in the deep? Why would you have tents in the deep? And because you're not really outside, you're in the deep, right? So if you're in exactly both of those answers right there, 3 answers in a row. You guys know what's up. I really wish that the VOD folks could see your answers. Lucky said privacy, correct. Idri said back guano rain, exactly, which you could, I guess, sing in like chocolate rain, but back guano isn't chocolate. It's like ammonia toothpaste. Smurda said caves drip water. Caves get cold too. Yes, Pixie. Burial says caves get moist. Maybe water drips down. Tavish said dew. Lasawa said bugs. Thadvik said it could still be cold. G. Williker said spores. Tupac said spores as well. Connive said because nobody wants to see each other pooping. Unless you're in an army, then sometimes it's funny. Squat said, I mean, people who are born exist in the deep don't know they're indoors. That's another way of thinking about it. So there you go. Guano Rain sung to the tune of Purple Rain. Yes. And then I just think they're neat, said in Marge Simpson's voice. Correct. Damn it. I want my chat fixed. I want to see all of your answers on the VOD. It's pissing me off. Skeeters in the deep are brutal. Yes. Let's be real here. Is that how am I supposed to be pronouncing your name that way? Is it be real? They also act as camouflage against ultravision. It's true. Sweet D Willie raiding with a party of 20 wild individuals. Wild, I tell you. Wild. Hey, Sweet D. Hello. I tip my hat to you. Good day, sir. I recently saw someone showed me a clip of you saying that I was a nice person and that the team were nice people. And we appreciate that. We appreciate it. Happy New Year to you as well. It is starting off well. It's flying by already. You get peeped on? Yeah, there are some snoopy people out there. Some peepers. Let's see. He's just chasing an in-game statue for sucking up. What? What kind of people did you bring with you? Sweetie, your people. You gotta get them. You gotta get them under control. They're trying to call you out. Your community of trolls, and you bring them here. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Just what I needed in life. Additional stress. Be Mighty 82, good day. Oh, man. Why did you do that? Constantly with the tilting. Jeez. Hopes trolls get moved to module 1 instead of later. They will they will not be in module 1. We're already working on module 1. We're already working on module 1. As somebody mentioned earlier when I was talking about the stuff that we're working on. They're like, "What? You're making progress on module 1." We are. What time is it over here in Deutschland? It is 2037. It is the year 2037, and we're still using fax machines in this country. Is the Goblin Wizard quest a launch feature or coming later? It might be a launch. It might be a launch feature. It might be. I feel like with those, if we confirm it too much, then it loses some of the fun. If we speak too specifically. You can't beat a bit of German bureaucracy. I would never say anything negative about Germany's bureaucracy or government. Hopefully that satisfies. I am sitting upright for a change, because the monitor is higher now. I can sit upright. Archon, what's going on? You're certainly intending to get it ASAP, so just trying to plan accordingly. The Goblin Wizard quest path is already in. You just gotta find if it is the correct answer, regardless if it's in. Yeah, it's funny because the fact that we're talking about goblins does mean that it can be a little silly, huh? All right. Goblin bards. Ugh. Too many goblins. Goblin's just saying that because he hears the threats behind the scenes of goblin annihilation. It's like maybe these goblins are more trouble than they're worth. Maybe it was a mistake adding these goblins. Well, the game hasn't gone live yet, so nothing's requiring us to have a goblin. I don't think we're breaking any laws if we delete them now. No one will notice. You guys are talking about the Jagex style polling system. Maybe that's what we need. Do a poll. Do we delete goblins? Yes or yes? Are goblins a scourge that need to be deleted? Delete goblins, add sailing. There we go. OSRS speaks. And the sails of the ships will be made from the skins of deleted goblins. Uh-oh. You guys can't, it's horrible that the VOD viewers can't see the chat at the moment. Goblin's holding his head. Pet, you're fine. I keep clicking my chat box every once in a while to see if it will appear. Why does it disappear? It appears for 1 second. Just think of those gorgeous boats and their leathery sails. Their nice custom upholstered seats. First, no goblins allowed in alpha, then delays on the goblin homeland. Now they're just deleting us goblins? Alright, that sounds like all sorts of misinformation. Which is grounds for deletion. I really don't understand. Alright. I don't understand why chat's not working. I think we have Sean's evil twin streaming today. What gave it away? The goatee? John said, so we're just going to delete goblins but keep gnomes? Can't spell no without no. Next thing you know, goblins will be introduced as play as a monster. That would be hilarious. Sean today is like the YouTube commenter that that told me to stop making content. People on YouTube sometimes are not nice. Not the people that watch our YouTube. Everybody that watches our videos here is super nice. Never mean word. And in all seriousness, we've had a lot of really decent supports. It's rare that we get like negative comments or trolls or anything like that. As a small business owner, negative Google reviews are your lifeblood. Safety first. Do they have like a big impact? Do you have to sweat them much, or what goes on with negative reviews as a small business owner? When I was when my family were small business owners, I don't think there was such a thing as a Google review yet. So it wasn't as big a deal. You got a boba shop? People give you negative boba reviews? What is wrong with them? What kind of, do you get like ones that are just they didn't understand what they were getting? Do you ever get like a negative review that's like, the balls was too chewy? Damn balls are chewy. You're like, what the yeah, they put gumballs in my drink. Negative Google reviews can really affect your business. I always tell people that that is one of the best ways to support a business is to shop there, to leave a good review. Right on. No, I've only gotten a few bad ones. Luckily, most people love it, but the bad ones can hurt. Yeah, that sucks, man. That kind of thing really sucks. Especially when people are just they're doing it just to be malicious. Goblin said, a question on high elves. What would your take on their racials be? Well, that's an interesting question. It's just superior everything. What traits do you pick? Plus 10 to every stat. I kind of feel like high elves and some other games are a little bland, and I'm really excited for people to get a feel for our take on them. Baloo said, signature look of superiority, unprecedented arrogance. Exactly. Unearned confidence. I don't know. They're pretty. They're pretty dope. They're the last of the elves that aren't all like got weird somehow. Zilith said, the orc areas always look like fun places for a puller. It is interesting that you say that. Do you mean it? Or were you... I'm going to assume you mean it. I'm going to assume you're not being facetious. This is going to be kind of a... I was kind of hoping for like... this is kind of a tent city barracks scenario here. And I want to... When we got the actual lighting going... Wanted to feel kind of like a sketchy... denser, sketchier kind of area to be moving through. Vengeance, LOL. Thank you for the follow. Will there ever be interactable objects like ballistas or catapults? Ever is a very long time in the MMO. Well, sometimes it's not very long at all, unfortunately, for some MMOs, but it can be a long time. So, forever ever is, I always just kind of, I don't mean to be flaky when I say it, but, you never know on something like that. Hey, Atomic Frog. I meant to say hi when you came in earlier. Idri said, EQ joke, how many high elves does it take to change a light bulb? One. One to hold it while the universe revolves around them. I like it. It reminds me of a joke I heard when I moved to Germany. They were telling a German joke. It was this really funny British guy that was telling the joke too. It was in a meeting full of Germans. And it was, how many Germans does it take to change a light bulb? And his delivery on it was perfect. I don't think I can replicate it, but it was, how many Germans does it take to change a light bulb? One. And he said it. He said it. He went from being so like laughing and funny to being so deadpanned when he said one. And that was just it. Because that was the joke. Is that they don't joke. Eight. 9. 9 is funny. I just wasn't expecting the 1. The delivery on the 1 was just, it was too good. How far along would you say Night Harbor is in terms of complete NPC population? Will it be complete by EA or something like 70-80%? By EA, hopefully it's sitting at there's factional content that we want to get in. It's stuff that Lasava's been working on. So I'm hoping once that stuff's in, it feels like a solid. I'll undersell it a bit because it's still like a dream that over the course of early access on the journey towards 1.0, we just find more opportunity to come back and plug in different stuff. But let's just say like a solid 85%. But we'll see. There's some stuff going on with there's some stuff going on up in High Point Terrace as well that's a little iffy, so we'll kind of see. Is it only race factions, or is there like a Horde Alliance kind of thing? There's race factions, and then there's just like a lot of other factions to discover, right? Like some people have been factioning up with the Ashira. There are 3 major factions in the city itself, right? So, and over time, the fact that there are 3 major factions in a city may provide you with some opportunities. The idea is that we wanted to really leverage that that opportunity to like run into a bunch of different factions throughout the world and grind with those factions and like and potentially like discover some new content or be able to access some things that you weren't able to access before. So does that make sense? When I've got both earbuds in, I feel like I'm not making any sense half the time. Yep, there are some merchants in Telekir. How do you get in? What do you need to pay? Well, the guaranteed way to get in and play will be to pay us $15 starting in June, according to our current plans and timelines. Manufacturer cannot be held accountable for any timeline promises that they fail to meet. What's the old disclaimers? Yeah, as the world gets bigger, we'll also I think by module 1, because there'll be more starting opportunities for folks, you'll see a greater diversity and sort of factional impact. Yeah, some assembly required, batteries not included. Mark Deaton, what's going on? One of my friends played a Halfling Paladin, had a lot of fun. When he listed what races and classes were played most, character was straight up unicorn. That happens. And the thing is, that's not exclusive to our game. Looking at like race class combos or how frequently certain races are played on the games I've worked on in the past. I mean, going all the way back to EverQuest, there are a lot of races and a lot of race class combos that are just like not a ton of people are playing them, you know what I mean? Like, and that's that's kind of, it is what it is. That's one of the cool things about playing certain combos. Thank you, Atomic Frog. That is correct. That is the link where you can find that information. Female dwarf, yeah, or a female ogre. I think more people will play our female ogres than have played like something like an EQ female ogre, though. Oops. Picked halfling because of the haircuts. Not gonna lie, Eminem female ogres are kind of baddies. Yes. Hey, Nicodemus. Well, I'm sorry to hear that you've had outages. You have an omelet MRE left if I want it. It's been a while. What's up, Quatos? My wife had her first MRE at this airsoft thing we did last year. Are MREs really bad? No, they're not bad. Quado said not much, just doing the work grind. Right on. How goes pathing? Just plopping down some spawns and talking a little garbage. Is she still with you after you made her eat MRE? I didn't make her. She was curious. You can doctor up MRE with sriracha or condiments usually. They come with the little Tabasco, right? They still got those? You gave her your wife an MRE and she had some toilet problems afterward. Oh no. That's no good. I could have sworn MREs are supposed to do the opposite. Quato said, Sean, I want you to know that I'm now on book 7 of DCC. Thanks for giving me an addiction. It is so good. Dungeon Crawler Carl. If you haven't listened to the audio book series, Dungeon Crawler Carl, you should. It's very, very entertaining. It's fantastic. Bear Lover. Thank you for the follow. Always had constipation issues after a couple of MREs in a row. Yeah, for sure. That's what I was hinting at. Like, they're usually pretty good about not giving you extra action. Quatos, did how was were there any like kind of tear jerk moments? Did it get to you, or is it just me? I'm a big softie. Dude, so many, yeah. Ballin'. It was rough, man. And I at this very moment, I can't think about certain things that happened in there, certain things that were said, without getting a little like, it still hits me in the feels. One of my favorite characters in a book ever. My wife and I absolutely love this character. Is in that series, and I hope the series does right by him for the rest of the series. Single-handedly most badass character. All right. The voice actor is perfect for that role. He does every voice. Have you watched any YouTube videos of him going through the voices? He doesn't need to like do different takes or anything for the different voices. He just transitions into he will flow between like 3 or 4 voices. It's insane. It's the craziest thing. Quado said, it's also the book series that made me realize I don't hear a voice in my head when I read. So that was a fun learning experience. Really? When you read, do you make like facial gestures and like accidentally act out parts of what you're reading? %1,000%. I sometimes have to audiate the thoughts just so I can hear how they sound. My wife always looks at me funny when I do. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I'll act out certain things or say it out loud just so that I've got a good point of reference from that point forward. Think Tank said, so people hear a voice in their head when they read? Some people do. Zilla said, we just finished the Carl audiobooks as well, or in the waiting room until May. Yeah, I've got Matt's Patreon going as well, but I don't peek it. It's like he releases the chapters and I have yet to read any of them. Yeah, the voice thing is interesting. I assume yes, but like I need to confirm that later tonight. The problem I have sometimes is I get distracted by video. When I'm thinking about stuff, I see it a lot of the time. It can be distracting. And then it was really funny at my last job because I think I just got in a bad habit of just like I was really trying to be thorough, and so I was pretty focused, and I would usually just be like looking over a person's shoulder, looking at what I'm thinking and articulating it, and so I would have people like look to see what I was looking at, and I'm like, sorry, it's me. It's like awkward. Somebody asked me if about a different book series. Have I read Stormlight Archives? I haven't, but it was recommended to me. It might have been you that recommended it to me. Let me look. I think I looked it up. Yeah. I have not had I have not had a lot of time for like any sort of fiction or anything lately. I'll have to check out Stormlight at some point. Are the audiobooks any good? I think it's like 90% hear sense of voice talking and like 10% don't. My wife doesn't. At all. She doesn't hear my voice when I'm talking either. I'm just saying it because sometimes she watches the stream. That'll make it spicy later. When you close your eyes, can you picture what you're thinking? You gotta close your eyes for that? Phenomenal audiobooks. Michael Kramer and Kate reading. Zano227 says, I like Michael Kramer all right, but his wife enunciates every consonant so hard it distracts me. Interesting. I'll have to get... I've got some Audible saved up, it sounds like. Zilla said +1 on the Bob recommendation. Also some great narration on the audiobooks. Alright, so the Bob verse. Interesting. I don't know, man. Like, I'm afraid to try to get into anything as much as like DCC. I feel like I'd be cheating on it. I just want to listen to more DCC, to be honest. Well, Gareth said, I've been enjoying reading, enjoying the Black Prism series by Brent Weeks. All right, brought that up as well. Reference it later. Yeah, it's odd. I just don't have I keep up on a lot of news and other stuff like that, and then the rest is just work and, you know, a couple hours here and there with the wife, and that's kind of my day or week. Development question for you. What's the purpose of having the facing options on a spawner rather than just using a rotation of the spawner? Oh, you mean like these little buttons? Or versus using this guy right here, this little... Or just using the Unity handle? Be real. I mean, this handle is just manipulating the transform. And then these guys are just quick manipulation of the transform. But it's all just the transform. And since I'm super inconsistent in how I do things, it's weird because, yeah, it's just more options for the same thing. So sometimes sometimes I'm in here and I'm thinking I just grab it, but for whatever reason, sometimes it's kind of it becomes a pain in the ass, especially on my old machine, because I'd be in a zone with a lot of spawners and other stuff going on, and it would be a little laggy, just laggy enough to kind of be in a pain in the ass. So then I'll get here. If I'm plopping down like I don't know, multiple and they all need to have sort of consistent facing and these make sense, I might click them. But for the most part, I do use the handle in this guy. I don't really click these very often. And in theory, when you're spawning them in, you could have them set so like if everything needs to be facing whatever this is, say it's 0 or 90 or something like that, you could set that here and then everyone that you spawn in will spawn in with that facing on the actual spawn editor instead of the spawn inspector. What time is it? It is 9:18. Cool. And then I think it was Pilgrim on the team, John, Pilgrim 1, who originally taught me about the control shift when you're in Unity and grabbing these little duders with control shift going, and it sticks it to the collision. Which has been just kind of one of the best pro tips. And all these guys are kind of set up to be a bods at the moment, but I'll go in and give them the right spawn groups a little bit later. Move these guys away from here. They were just kind of I put them there. Yeah, it's control and shift, Bill. So I'll do it on the, obviously. I'll do it whenever I'm like, especially if I'm duping something. So I wanted to dupe something anyway. So here, I'll show you. Well, I did not expect to actually learn something. All that time I've been wasting manually adjusting Y coordinates. Watch. So like, it's really helpful if you're grabbing something from across the map even, like a prop that you've duped. So let's go to lights. Let's say there's a ground torch. Yeah, it's on the other side of the map. Can you whisper me? Have a question issue? Yeah, you can send it over. So like Control D, I've duped it, right? So I'm grabbing it here and it's over there. I can't even see it, but I can see the gray box, right? So I grab it. And now it's here. And depending on how your asset's set up, I'm assuming the anchor point or whatever is there. So you may have to do that, right? Because the box is up there. So it would be awesome if that box was actually down here. That might be an easy enough thing for artists to do. So it might be one of those things that as we run into the assets, we should ask. And so, boom, now we got ourselves a little torch here. And because that box is up there, we still got to make a little adjustment, but it makes life a lot faster for, some of the stuff. And the thing is, say I've got a spawn point, the way our system works, like I want to move this guy over here. It's the same deal, right? Like, so if oh crap, I grabbed this spawn, it's this orc spawn over here. And then he's just right there. Or if for whatever reason this guy looks off, I can just grab him, pop him up, hit save. You know, so then it's also it's fun in combination with like if you're here and you kind of then you can grab this guy. You know, if you know it's like 3, but then you go over here, you come to F, you come to F him. You use F to and then grab that guy and then bring him back over here. And like I said, for people that aren't familiar with my streams, usually my streams are kind of like how I unwind after work, right? Like so a lot of times I'll be in here bullshitting with people and not super productive. So if you're ever watching like an old VOD or you're watching this VOD for the first time or watching a stream and you're like, oh, he's not getting very much done. Yeah, I mean, a lot of times I'm just kind of hanging out and talking to you guys while kind of poking at stuff. I work a lot faster when I can just like focus and I'm not looking at chat. But it's really nice to come in and hang out every once in a while and answer some questions and see how you guys are doing. So, yeah. You might have actually just made my day, week, month, year. Right on. See, I'm just paying it forward. The Sean guy is so slow. It's true. Yeah, it's definitely easier than pulling arrows around. And like I said, you know, I was shown that, so. I assume something like that when you were moving to turn around for 30 minutes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I feel bad because I really have been bad about not, you know, not meeting my posted stream schedule. Just a lot of stuff has been going on, and so I've had various excuses, but I'm gonna try to be more consistent now. But again, hanging out with you guys is like a luxury. I'm not super productive on stream, so I don't like to stream a ton because I'd rather, if I'm going to spend like 3 hours in the evening, you know, there's also a lot of stuff that our North American crew is like up and awake in these hours, and so if there's going to be a voice call or if there's like some real sort of super back and forth stuff that needs to go on, then that's also something that kind of would be better done during this period. But yeah, Goblins said the team's been pretty good about being able to fill that's the other thing. Like, we've got so many people streaming these days, and streaming a lot, that it's like, again, I pop in when I can because it's really cool to be able to see you guys hang out, but it's not like you're not getting plenty of quality M&M development stream action. Cosmic Bunny said, really appreciate seeing these streams though, even if it's a bit lighter on the work. It's fun to see you guys make the game. Yeah. No, it's been fantastic for us as a concept over the years. It's been a really good source of a lot of like feedback and ideas and information. Try to keep a low internet profile. M is the only reason why I'm on Discord and Twitch. Hey, you and me both. Glorganox, hey, thank you. One of the challenges to remote work is transfer of group knowledge or best practices. Bill, I think we do a better job of it than a lot of the teams, in-person teams I've been on, just because of like streams and stuff like that. Oh, okay. So before I forget, Space question mark asked, Robot, do you keep Unity updated with new releases? Also, have you tried Unity's AI assistant yet? No, on the latter. I didn't even know they had that. And yes, we keep up to date, but not like, I don't think like fully up to date. We are on version 6059 F2. If that tells you anything. Does any of that have to do with being able to quickly show things, or is that just the team can notice something in real time? I don't know. It's something it's something that it's just kind of unique to this. I think we share so much behind the scenes. It's funny, one of our new team members, literally I need to follow up after the stream, was just mentioning, because he's coming from an environment that's or environments that are more traditional, and I think it's unusual. We don't have meetings really. We don't have meetings, but we have like a continuous stream of async discussions. Now, some people may be more or less engaged in those discussions, and sometimes it can be an issue where it's like, hey, we need you to engage in a discussion. But for the most part, it's just a lot of, we just like, and it's a lot of screen capping. Right? So it's constantly kind of like a, it's like, hey, what about this? What about that? Or I just ran into this. Let me see if I can find an example of it. Like if I go into, like we talk a lot in screenshots. So there's a lot of stuff that'll be like, it's not spoiler. It'll be like, hey, I just ran into this. It'll be a screen cap and then it'll be a quick message, right? And so it's just constantly like, hey, what about this? What about that? And because people are working from home, or we're all distributed. It could be that you're having a real-time conversation with somebody, and then it's like, hey, I'm going to walk the dog and blah, blah, blah. And the conversation will just kind of like then switch to a completely like async rhythm. And we're still, it to me, because we've got people from basically the west coast of North America, both Canada, US, all the way over to Bahrain, with like a lot of points in between, and people have different sleep schedules. Like some people are in North America but are night owls and they're up all night, like a goblin or something like that. But then, yeah, and so it's just a weird thing where I go to bed and stuff is going on. I wake up and stuff is going on. Like the quietest period of the day, for me is kind of like 10 or 11 a.m. my time until about 2 or 3. That's kind of the quietest time. So if I'm going to work out or something like that, like go run errands or something, it'll be kind of then. And then, and some days people are all sort of heads down and doing their shit, and it's a little bit quieter on Slack. And then other days it's it'll just be like some random thread that'll be 100 messages. How many people are working full time? Full time, of the 40 people, I would say I think all of us that are full time are like full time ish. I don't want to discount it, but I would say maybe like 4, 5 ish, 6 ish. Because we've got some folks that, some folks are between work or between contracts or whatever, but even then they're doing real life stuff and job hunting and portfolio maintenance and other stuff. Things like that. Was just talking to the team about this. One of the things that comes up when people are talking about like what's our measure of success. For us, it's honestly, we're paying out of pocket for everything. So our current operating costs are pretty low, even including like the play tests and stuff. Our operating expenses are low. When we go live, naturally that goes up. But it goes up kind of based on the demand of, all right, we have players and so we have servers, but essentially if we get a few hundred subs, then we're no longer paying out of pocket. That covers our sort of base operational expenses. But for us, we've got a rollout plan in mind where like of our 40 person team, it's kind of broken into different categories of like people that are freelancers or between jobs, especially with layoffs last year and stuff like that, are looking for work. And so we've got a subset of people that are, if we've got the cash to be able to pay them, then that's really going to be amazing because then we can get them out of a tough spot. But that's like 12 people. And then we've got another chunk of people that are kind of like, hey, if the revenue is stable, they've got jobs, things are good, but they're, working on the project as well in their spare time. But they may be able to, if we had steady revenue, they can maybe make the leap. And then we've got another like big chunk of the team that's essentially they've got good jobs, they're secure, they may they may be making more money than we would be able to pay and stuff, and so for them it'll always kind of be a part-time gig, and we're super cool with that as well. So I think when people look at the fact that we're like a 40-person team and they assume that if we don't make enough money to pay for all 40 people, then, the team's just going to disband or something. That's just not the way we set up the company, and it's not the way the project works. So, are you guys still accepting people for the closed beta? You can always opt in. We haven't done anything with the beta opt-ins or anything like that. If you're not familiar with that, check out our updates. There's an update that I think I might even have it up. Yeah. Yeah, it covers opt-in here. So this link will give you some info on it. So that's still to come. Oh, okay. I keep meaning to cover this really quick. I should probably do it right now. And I'm going to turn the music down so that I can think. Let me know if the music... it shouldn't be too loud for you. So there is an idea. There's an idea that floated to the team last year on a way to help us get a better understanding of where you guys were kind of planning on playing and trying to get an idea of like the level of interest that people may have in the game, but also in like particular servers. And then the idea was like, what if we gave you the opportunity to see like a server list and see how many people were kind of selecting that as like their, and I just kind of call it like their home server. So if you had to sort of say, this is the server I'd want to play on, it does not preclude you from playing on whatever server you want, but like, hey, this is designating like my home server. Then you could coordinate with your friends and family and guild or whatever. And your guild could be like, hey, we want to be on, like strip all the names out because some people are already attached to like Rel, or they're attached to, Rel, or what is the other one that we've been doing? Crivia. And so let's strip the names out and let's just say, hey, why don't we just start with no names, and later on maybe we'll add some names because maybe you want to pick the flavor or something. But like, what about being able to say, I want to be on this server. I'm going to be on server 1, and then you just tell all your homies to be on server 1 or whatever. Yeah. Server 1, server 2 is exactly it. So I don't think so. Essentially, we're gonna roll this out to our alpha folks to see if they break it or what it looks like or whatever in the next like day or two or something, because I haven't heard anybody say no or whatever. And this was pitched a couple months ago and it wasn't a problem, so we should be good. But anyways, here I'll show you. Swanee whipped this up for us, and this is what it will look like. Again, I don't think that's cool. I'm not going to click on admin so you can't see all my shit. But essentially, you'll be able to, depending on how many servers on there, you may need some more filtering or whatever. But what it'll be is, it's kind of like a poll, but it's just having you pick which server do you think you want to be on, and you can update it like every, it's got like a 5-minute cooldown, so you can update it. And no, I'm not going to click on admin, Swanee. There's a nice dashboard and stuff for us to be able to see some information on this as well. Thank you, Swanee. But you'll see the population as it fills in. These numbers are kind of arbitrary at the moment. Right? We just like put 5,000 as a cap on there for now. And then we picked like, we've got 1 PvE, no boxing, 1 PvE boxing, and 1 PvP. Probably put another PvE no box server on here just for the thing. And yeah, and then we'll just see how you guys start to distribute yourselves. If we see that like one side server is kind of lopsided or whatever, we may be like, hey guys, please consider moving to US PvE 3 or whatever, right? We could use this if we keep hearing like, hey, what about a EU server? What about a EU server? We can easily just add a EU server on here. Like the way that this is built, like Swanee set it up great, so it's super easy for us to add servers, remove servers, or whatever. And then we could see, right? And if it's only like 5 people, then we're like, that's why we probably don't want to spin up a whole new server. There's no link yet. We'll provide a link soon. I'm just kind of giving you an overview of what to expect here. So this is basically a non-destructive way of gauging server interest or how people are dispersed once it gets opened. Yep. And, we could, if we feel there's a need, we could potentially incentivize this in some way or whatever. But this is linked to your account. You will ultimately wind up reaching it through the community hub, the way that, let me see. It'll be set up so it's really easy to click and then go and then and update it. And then you'll be able to see pretty much in real time, you'll be able to see as people are filling in on the servers. But the idea was, you never know, if we start to see these guys filling up pretty good, then we'll be able to kind of answer some of those questions of like, hey, what about this, something like whatever, a new rule set or a new regional server or whatever, right? So that type of stuff, we can answer that before we get to the point where we're flipping on the switch and then you guys are all jamming into Rel again, right? So does this make sense? I'll wait for chat to catch up. 1000%. Smart C. Disarray 306, thank you for the follow. Yeah, for sure. Yep. Zos Varus runs with sheep. Thank you for the follows, guys. What is this intended to help with? Just an idea for population. Ghastly, it will help us understand population. It'll let us gauge interest. This is tied to actual accounts. So we're able to not see who clicked what. I mean, I guess in theory we could, but we do see that of our number of registered accounts. Let me look and see. Yeah, we've got about 57,000 registered accounts. And so we'll get to see of the number of accounts that we have, who's engaging with this type of thing, where folks distributing themselves. Yeah, let's just start to so Devised84 said Nick mentioned something about server groups as well, something in terms of if when server merges may or may not occur. Yeah, one of the things that we want to do as well is, and we'll use this as kind of like a foundational tool in that, is to kind of give you, I've been describing it as like kind of like March Madness brackets, you know, bracketing, like a tournament bracketing or whatever. We want to set it up in advance if we wind up having you know, more than 3 or 4 servers. If we wind up with like 5 or 7 or 10 servers or something like that, we want to go ahead and predefine how they might merge, because we may find ourselves in a situation where we have like, you know, who knows, maybe we've got 20,000 people the first month and then the third month we got 10,000. You know, if you listen to certain YouTube comments or people on the internet, they're like, hey, yeah, the game is going to shrink over time, and we're like, okay, well, let's prepare for that in advance, and then we may find that never happens, but we can, you know, anyways, it gives us at least a foundation to start talking about how we'll manage that over time. Was there a poll again? There will be a poll that's that will be coming out. That will be basically built into the website. It's not out yet. It'll look like this, and it's the thing that we're discussing. What about ballooning in the opposite direction? Yeah, that's that's another kind of, again, we've got to account for different scenarios. Stop Radio, thank you for the follow. At least assuming people are doing it in good faith. But that doesn't seem much of a problem with this community. Well, I mean, even if they're not, you basically, you get 1 vote per account. So, there's only so much you can do, right? Like you can't really, I guess you can register more accounts, and you can kind of brigade it that way. We tend to keep an eye on some of that stuff. So if we see suspicious stuff, yeah, we'll see. Swanee will get you. Yeah, it's not launched yet, but it will be on the community hub, and we'll let you know. And this will be one of those things that will be worth, like, we'll send it to the mailing list. We'll post it on Discord. We'll mention it in streams. Yeah, so Mesker said, will this be emailed to registered accounts? Yeah, it'll be everybody. We'll get an update on this because we really do want a lot of engagement. Did you decide how to handle housing for server merges? There's some ideas. I mean, the worst case, it is a merge, and then like, I guess the most fair thing would be like a lotto system or whatever. But we owe you a better plan for that before we go into early access. For server merges, would it be straight sharing name? Maybe we could also do name of server, like Halner of Rel or something. Yeah, that Goblin, let's make sure that we incorporate that into the planning. Don't let us forget that part. Maybe I'm dullard, but wouldn't people just select a server based on type, location, and then population every time, especially if no names or anything is attached to the server? Well, that's the thing. Like, there will be a tendency for everybody wants to go to the popular nightclub. So say they're both the same rule set. They're both no boxing servers. And it's kind of like the situation with Rel and Krivia. If this is at like 2500 and then server, let's just say 2, but I don't want to mix apples and oranges. Server 3 is like half of that. It could be that a lot of people will pack into the one that's looking more popular. And that's going to be part of the interesting social experiment, is to be able to say like, hey guys, why don't you look at sort of moving over here? Is anybody interested in moving your guild or whatever, right? But you're doing it before you get started, because one of the concerns is if you just wait until servers come up to kind of have these conversations, the second you've got like 1 minute invested in your character, it's like, all right, well, I don't want to leave. G. Williker said, I chose the server, Triminax, because of the name. I do think names will be a factor. I agree. And that will be a thing that we can add in over time. It's super easy for us to update this, and we may see, all right, let's say let's say it's an even break. PvE, no boxing, 1, 2, and 3, and they've all got the same number of people on it because it's server 1, 2, 3. And then we put in like 3 different names, and all of a sudden we see like people gravitating towards certain names because it sounds cool or something, or they know who the deity is. So yeah, if we just named one goblin cave, and then we get all the goblins to run into there, and then we push a big boulder in front of the entrance. Yeah, so Captain Caldwell said, I'm assuming we're also only going to have a few servers to start, and then scale as more players come on board. Yep. And this hopefully will allow us to kind of keep things as tight as possible. And I'm just kidding with you, goblins. I hate to pick on you. Help, I'm being repressed. Exactly. I used to constantly rail against the system, and then I became the system. Need a sacrifice to finally get an alpha key. Your goldfish. No bat wing crunchies for a month. Stop begging. Don't sacrifice your goldfish. That makes me sad. You either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become a bit of a villain. Yeah, that has definitely been my story arc, I guess. Cool. So we covered that. And we'll accompany that with like some instructions and clarification and stuff, because I got the feeling there will be questions. To be frank, you're doing it differently than a traditional CEO villain. Well, Goblin, playing the long game. Oops. You said Safety First said something about mustache trolling, and so when Malik said, "Do you guys have plans to sell any merch?" I read, "Do you guys have plans to sell monocles?" It's like, not yet. We'll add it to the list. Yes, merch will be a thing. We're working on getting stuff ready for prime time on that front as well. Avery said Robot will be selling Gamer Guy burps in bottles. Yes. Since I do not bathe, there is no water to be had. Monocle top hat, bushy mustache combo pack. I've been taking some 3D printing and toy merch classes while I do entertainment arts certificate. It's been a lot of fun. That does sound like fun. It's funny, when I was talking to my wife about the 3D printer, she was kind of like skeptical at first. And I was like, I think you're going to wind up using it more than I do. And she was like, no, I don't know, you know. And so we talked a fair bit before we got it. And sure enough, she is constantly printing stuff. Desolation HC, I hope that stands for hardcore. Says Rogue needs some buffs, adjustments, backstab and ambush don't feel rewarding. Right on. The best place, the best stream to bring that feedback to is Nick's stream. When Nick Hots is streaming, you should hit him up with that. But it sounds like he's doing some work on rogues. So maybe you will be happy. My wife would probably use mine more, but it's a resin one, so a lot of work. Yeah. My what's going on here? Did it break? It happens. This happens once in a great while. We'll see. Did that break the spell? It didn't. Which guy is this? 3? Every once in a while, the editor will get a little wonky on the data front. I'll hit save just in case. And it won't let me select any of these dudes anymore. Doesn't happen often, but it can happen. And it may have to restart. Yep, and when that happens, you got to restart the editor to get it to work again. That's fine. That's fine. It's like 10 o'clock anyways. I have a question. Is anybody from the team streaming at the moment? I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover today. I think. ZBrush is tight. He's doing personal stuff. I wonder if he'll mind though. His portfolio stuff is pretty dope. I don't think he'll mind. So yeah, this little... So when you're you know, when the lights are on, it's not quite as impressive, right? When it's like this, it's not super inspiring, right? But like if you come in here, oops, we start getting a little bit of lighting going, and then you got the orcs in here spawning and stuff, and you think about like, oh man, coming through here and pulling, get a couple more roamers in, get some more props in, and this is the entrance. This is just the entrance. We've got more area to fill out. It's not a small one. It's not the biggest dungeon in the world, but it's also not the smallest dungeon in the world. V-Rail said, I should probably do some actual work today considering it's almost 4 p.m. and may your development journeys be smooth and without bugs. Hey, yours as well, and I'm glad the little control shift thingy will help you out. It's not the size of the dungeon, it's the loot table. Yeah. Okay, so I tell you what, guys. 2.5 hour stream. I'll be back on Friday. And I will be streaming at my roughly normal time. And maybe we'll be fixing some like Night Harbor housing then. But I'm going to raid ZBrush. So if you guys want to stick around, it sounds like he's doing some personal portfolio stuff, but stick around and check that out. Talk to him. It'll be a nice, calm stream. Let me say goodnight to some folks and then we'll raid. So Pipes, good night. Hey, will placing a torch have matching radius to hold one eventually? Right now it's extremely small. Hey, that's a good question. I don't know if that's intentional. That may not be intentional. Boolork, good to see you. Malik, take care. XVG Willikers. Kurgan Gray, thanks for the follow. Sia Bunny, Idri, Captain Hook, Derelict, Squats, Chaz Solo, Kufu, Meeks, Toxins. See you guys, Viro. See Atomic Frog, Gorf, Zarkin. Alright, guys. Schmurda. Let me get this raid started. Sorry, I won't be able to read everybody's. That's fine. ZBrush in the list. I always like it when they're at top. ZBrushed. Let's do this. Starting raid now. Oh, that is pretty. That is looking good, guys. All right, everybody be nice to Zach. I'm going to raid and I'm going to bounce out in a minute.